This hearing will come to order. And today we're privileged to hear from three scholars on the topic of women's education and how a failure to appreciate its importance can result in missed opportunities for development and missed opportunities in terms of countering radicalism. I remember my experience with a small school. For a while, my wife and I served on the board of this school in Afghanistan, and we had been asked all through those troubled years, and this was before 9/11, to assist with this school for orphans. It was in Kabul. And after the government changed, after 9/11, I had an opportunity to go visit this school, and I well remember the feeling I had. They were in a building that, obviously needed a lot of work, but the students, you could hear them citing, going through their lesson plan, and one of the classes was in English. The boys were on one side of the room and the girls were on the other, and the headmaster there asked me if I would like to ask any questions, and I remember asking specifically what these young people wanted to do when they grew up. A boy stood up and said he wanted to become an engineer, but a girl stood up and said, I want to become a physician. And I said, really? Tell me, what you would like to do. She said, I want to go to Kabul University. I want to become a doctor to help my people. It was a reminder to look at those orphan children and see them being prepared, but realizing how ill-prepared most of the population was going through those turbulent times of war. Well, following today's hearing, we're going to do a markup, but we want to hear from our witnesses first. The markup is going to be on 3583, the Malala Yousafzai Scholarship Act. And what this important legislation will do is to require USAID to award at least half of its scholarships in Pakistan to women. And of course, Malala, a Pakistani, is the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize nominee who has been recognized for her courageous efforts to advance access to education for women and girls in that part of the world. I also want to recognize the Pakistani American community, which has worked so hard from here in the United States to promote the education of safety and women and girls by establishing supporting schools. They also do a lot to support the medical schools in Pakistan, to support the orphanages and other medical centers and key institutions in Pakistan. Despite a general expansion of educational opportunities around the world in the last 30 years, women in most developing countries on average still receive far less schooling than men, as we'll hear from our witnesses today. In some countries like Pakistan, this difference is quite pronounced, with only about 40% of women over the age of 15 considered literate, 40% for women, 70% for men. In Afghanistan, however, it is as few as 13% of women that are able to read and write. Today, we hope as children are graduated out of school, we are going to see that percentage increase markedly. But as you'll hear today, there is strong evidence that the education of women and girls, of course, promotes economic growth. It increases life expectancy. It promotes childhood development. There is no doubt that educating women improves a country's economy, as educated women are more likely, obviously, to be able to contribute to the labor force. But the correlation between a rise in women's education and per capita income has been absolutely proven. An increase in a woman's earning potential benefits her family. Studies have shown that women tend to invest more in their children than men, which is why increases in female income improve child survival rate some 20 times more than increases in male income. Women who can read also stand to benefit from the pamphlets distributed in public awareness campaigns and have been shown to better understand radio broadcasts designed to keep them informed. Pakistan is an area of our concern here. Unfortunately, it's an area of our concern because of extremist groups that are indoctrinating youth by the thousands. And to offset this, of course, there are all-girls schools now in Pakistan being set up. I visited one of them out in the northwest frontier, only to learn later that that particular school had been destroyed by the Taliban. That should tell us all we need to know. Education is a key counter to destructive ideology. As we will hear today, women's central role in families and communities make them uniquely positioned to intervene and to stop the radicalization of their children. Mothers are most likely to spot the signs that something is off. Simply put, if angry young men are to be stopped before they strap on a suicide vest, women will be key to stopping them. It is also worrisome that, as one witness will warn, it is worrisome the soft radicalization of women, and she'll point to the growing trend of women involved in terrorist attacks. Education has the potential to counter this, too. We look forward to hearing from our witnesses on how women's education can play an important role in defusing the factors that contribute to extremism, and how educating women and girls is a catalyst for economic development. As one journalist has put it, girls' schools are just about the best long-term counterterrorism investment available, unquote. I now turn to the ranking member, Mr. Keating from Massachusetts, for this hearing, for his opening comments.